Hi there, and thank you for tuning in to the most watched business show on City TV. This is the Business Weekly Show on City TV. My name is Michael Ogbodu, and the show is sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. In the next one, I'll be bringing you all the latest business news that made headlines, and trust me, there's some interesting stuff you will find in there. Are you ready? Let's go. I always knew youth unemployment was a big issue in Ghana, but not in the huge crowds of job-seeking people seen at the Accra International Conference Center this week. They were attending the Youth Employment Agency's job fair. Hey, come and see people. You could not even find a place to stand if you were there. And as for social distancing, dear Charlie, forget crap.
In Ghana, available data indicates that about 600,000 people out of the total labor force of over 12 million are not employed. Analysts have warned that the figure may go up if interventions are not put in place. Key among all the promises in budget statements by governments over the years has been job creation. In efforts to support this aim, the Youth Employment Agency (YEA) organized a job fair with the primary objective of providing opportunity for job seekers to go through live interview sessions towards getting employed by the participating companies from the private sector. According to the agency, 3,200 job vacancies are to be filled by the end of the two-day job fair. But this initiative came with its own problems, as thousands of job seekers gathered at the Accra International Conference Center and struggled their way through the gates to interact with the employers. Some of these persons shared their frustrations with City Business News.
How has the process been so far? It hasn't been easy, and the information placed out there wasn't detailed. I came here around 7 and I was told I'm supposed to register. With the registration, I've not been able to do it, so we are still in queue since 7 and it's 12:55. I'm still here. Nothing has been done. We are just in queue.
So now what's the way for it? Are you still going to be here till when? It's 2 days, or you go and come back tomorrow? What's your plan now?
Actually, I'll have to stay because I'm the one seeking for the job. So I'll have to stay. If I'm supposed to come tomorrow, I will come tomorrow and then I'll finish up.
I arrived here as early as 8 o'clock. Yes. But when I got here, there were a lot of guys over here. So I even thought I was asleep before I realized they started arranging their stuffs. Yes.
So what exactly are you looking for? Which particular sector do you want to work in, or company do you want to work for?
Basically, I have not chosen a specific company, but that of the energy sector. Yeah, because I did electrical engineering.
In which school?
Sungan Technical University.
Have you been able to go inside?
No, I struggled to get at the door, but then the glass was broken and we all drove back again. So aside that, they asked us to write some names. We've written down the names about twice, but still nothing. We've not heard anything.
A deputy CEO of the Youth Employment Agency, Alhaji Bashiru Ibrahim, however, stated that the attendees exceeded the agency's expectations.
I think that initially we had a target, but the interest has gone beyond what we were anticipating. If you go around and you look at the various companies that are here, we have close to 150 companies that are here, and over 3,500 vacancies so far have been declared. It is our hope that the various people who are here seeking for jobs will meet the requirements of the companies so that they can be employed.
He further assured that his outfit would track the persons who would gain employment to assess their performances at their various workplaces.
The Youth Employment Agency will track every single person and then to ensure that the person who goes through the interview is employed. Let me add that at the end of the day, if you are picked by a company, we still want to monitor your progress. So it's not just about creating an avenue for employers and employees to meet. It is also our responsibility to ensure that we track and follow the various people at wherever they are employed.
Away from youth employment, now to the formation of boards of various government agencies. The Ghana Airport Company Limited Board has been constituted, and the chairman, Paul Adomotwe's appointment is a big win for journalists. I think the Good Evening Ghana host on Metro TV deserves one Zangalewa at this juncture, as he does for some of his guests.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to this edition of Good Evening Ghana. Thank you very much for your time. It's a busy Thursday, isn't it? Okay, so
Mr. Paul Adomotri is a seasoned journalist in Ghana who hosts Good Evening Ghana on Metro TV. He was a member of the National Communications Authority Board before it was dissolved at the end of the first term of President Akufo-Addo. He has worked in both TV and radio over the past 20 years, covering all major events in Ghana as well as events that occur abroad but related to Ghana. He has had a stint with the BBC covering the UK elections in 2001 for the African Service. Mr. Adomotri was adjudged the best news reporter by the Ghana Journalists Association in 2001. He also received an honorary award for contribution to the growth of independent media in Ghana in 2012. His appointment was confirmed in a letter from the presidency to the sector minister. The letter also confirms that Managing Director of the GACL, Yao Kwakwa, has maintained his position. Mr. Kwakwa was in the news as workers of his outfit threatened a number of times to lay down their tools while calling for his removal from office. They accused him of mismanagement and abuse of office. Other representatives of the 7-member board are Te Ajirako, Kwabna Nyakun, who are both nominated by the president, Francis Kofi Nonu, a representative from the Ministry of Transport, and Group Captain Gavasi Biana of the Ghana Air Force. The formation of the board comes after some CSOs raised concerns over the delay several months after the current government took office. Another agency whose board has been set up is the Minerals Commission. They have a lot of work on their plate, especially with the issue of small-scale mining. It's common knowledge how the environment is being destroyed by people looking for gold. So this new board would be expected to do all it can to support the government's efforts at sanitizing this space.
Small-scale mining plays a vital role in Ghana's extractive industry. Recent data from the Minerals Commission, the country's mining regulator, indicates that the sector generated over $2 billion from 2016 to 2020. However, revenues from the sector are dwindling due to reported cases of gold smuggling and the impact of illegal mining. Speaking during the inauguration of the new board of the Minerals Commission, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo charged them to put in place measures to augment government's efforts to reverse the trend.
You are having to fashion out a framework within which we can strike that delicate, careful balance between promoting responsible small-scale mining and jettisoning illegal mining and its obvious adverse consequences. It's a delicate rope to walk on, where we will have a viable, robust, responsible small-scale mining which contributes to the national economy. For a lot of people don't appreciate that the contribution of gold to our GDP is enormous, and the revenue the state gets from the gold industry is huge.
On her part, former Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister Barbara Otin-JC, who is the new chairperson for the Commission, indicated that the Commission would, in line with the President's vision of industrialization, make meaningful interventions for the small-scale mining sector to be economically viable in the face of its current challenges.
We recognize the importance of the Minerals Commission in the agenda of His Excellency the President, his industrialization agenda, and his Ghana Beyond Aid vision. We know that our minerals will contribute significantly to the realization of this agenda. If we look at the establishment of GISDEC and GUIDEC, it means that our minerals will contribute to our industrialization and the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. So we have our work cut out for us, and as the Honorable Minister indicated, it is not just the gold, but it is all the minerals of the country. Therefore, it is important that we look at the entire resources available in the country and develop a framework that will support the country to derive the ultimate benefit from it, especially now as industrial minerals are becoming
very important in the world.
Members of the newly inaugurated 9-member board include Honorable Barbara Otinjesi, Martin Kwekueyisi, Alhaji Idrisu Sulemana, Honorable Dakwa Newman, Togbi Ewusi III, Honorable Charles Champong, James Kolegi Ataki, Emmanuel Vincent, and Judy Nakwo Kreyem.
But some other boards were inaugurated this week, like that of the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority, National Road Safety Authority, and a number of others. But El Chemano, Mr. President, isn't happy at all. International oil company ENI has dragged Ghana to the International Arbitration Tribunal in London. It's all because of the directive for them to unitize their oil fields with that of Springfield, as they appear to be linked. There has been a lot of back and forth over this for over a year now. But ENI, too small thing that you will let us talk about and agree amongst ourselves, you've gone to call an international referee. Well, at least that's where they think they can get fair play.
The Sankofa oil and gas field is part of ENI's offshore Cape 3 Points project off Ghana's Atlantic coast, which it says has reserves of about 40 billion cubic meters of gas and 500 million barrels of oil. On the other hand, the Afina oil field, which was discovered by Springfield in 2019, is said to contain 1.5 billion barrels of oil and 0.7 trillion cubic feet of gas. The delay in the unitization of the two oil fields, which stakeholders such as the Africa Center for Energy Policy (ACEP) and the Institute for Energy Security (IES) have expressed concern over, is expected to, among other things, deny government the much-needed billions of dollars to execute its development agenda. In May this year, the Commercial Division of the Accra High Court ordered the operators of the Sankofa oil field to preserve 30% of all the revenues which will be accrued from the field until the final determination of a legal dispute relating to it. Per the order of preservation, the 30% revenue must be paid by the operators, ENI Limited and Vitol Upstream Limited, into an account agreed by all the contesting parties, which was appealed by ENI Ghana but lost. In the aftermath of the court ruling and other attempts by government to have them unitize their oil field with that of Springfield, ENI is now in court seeking some 5 reliefs, including a declaration that the purported directives by Mr. Ameu and any other steps taken to implement those directives represent a breach of contract under the Petroleum Agreement. ENI also wants a declaration that the respondents take no further action to implement the purported unitization of the Sankofa field and Afina discovery on the terms of the purported directive, in addition to an order that the respondent pays damages in an amount to be quantified for the losses suffered by ENI arising out of the respondent's breaches of the Petroleum Agreement, Ghanaian law, and international law on a joint and several bases, among other reliefs. In a response to a request by the Paramount Chief of Eastern Nzima Traditional Council and President of the Nzima Manle Council, Awolai Amihi Ekpanyili III, to address the issue between the two companies, President Akufo-Addo said all is being done to resolve the issue amicably.
I'm still very upset that at the end of the day, the matters that we are discussing have become the subject of a notice of arbitration. I felt I had 2 separate meetings over the course of a month with the key figures involved, both on our side and on the side of the ENI, to try and find a common ground that would enable us to deal with this matter without litigation. It hasn't happened so far, but I want to assure you that we will continue the discussions to find an amicable solution. So the request that has been made that we should settle this matter by the President of the Nzima Manle Council is a request that sits very well with me, and I will do my very best to make sure that it happens.
Right when we're still trying to figure out what to do about this ENI issue, another one comes up. You know, the government has been making moves to increase its shares in Aker Energy and AGM Petroleum. Even that one, Seth, the far some CSOs have given government overhead, they have concerns about the valuation of the company. That too hasn't been resolved yet. And then boom, international oil and gas company Lukoil, a critical partner in the oil field, shows up and says they aren't aware.
According to the ownership structure of the Deepwater Tunnel Cape 3 Points block, Aker Energy holds a 50% participating interest. Other partners include international oil and gas company Luke Oil with 38%, Fuel Trade with 2%, and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation GNPC with 10%. But according to Luke Oil, as the second largest shareholder in the block, it has been kept in the dark. In a statement addressed earlier this week to the Energy and Finance Ministers, among others, Luke Oil said it strongly believes that the proposals of its partners to sell some stake and change the operatorship of the block may introduce significant risks for the project execution and schedule. In order to avoid any negative circumstances for the Deepwater Tunnel Cape 3 Points project, Luke Oil said it shall be directly involved in the discussion of such fatal issues as the sale and acquisition of Aker Energy's share, the resignation of the operator of the Deepwater Tunnel Cape 3 Points project, and appointment of a successor, as well as further project financing plans. The company further urged the Energy Minister to note that all activities regarding the sale and acquisition of Aker Energy's share, the resignation of the operator of the Deepwater Tunnel Cape 3 Points project, and appointment of successor and further project financing plans are subject to revision and or approval in accordance with the provisions of the Joint Operating Agreement dated 9th July 2015. But in a response to Luke Oil on the issue, the Ministry of Energy allayed the oil company's fears that the project's execution and schedule will be put at significant risk by the proposed transaction. While appreciating the long-standing relationship with Luke Oil, the Ministry further noted that GNPC has the necessary financial backing and technical competence to acquire the stakes under discussion and to participate in the operator company. It further noted that at the successful completion of the transaction, GNPC Explorco will become a 40% shareholder in the operator joint venture company. As such, there will be no resignation or change of operator. The Energy Ministry further indicated that the acquisition transaction is at its early stages and currently under negotiations, adding that Luke Oil and Fuel Trade will be engaged at the appropriate time.
Still in the oil and gas space, I'm sure you heard about the atomic gas explosion some years back. That was one terrible evening. Lives were lost and many were injured. The government, as part of its preventive measures, placed a ban on the construction of new LPG filling stations. There are some rumors, though, that the ban might be lifted soon, but the Bureau of Public Safety doesn't think so. A ban on the construction of new LPG outlets was imposed after a gas explosion at Atomic Junction in 2017 killed 7 people while injuring several others. A cylinder recirculation model was afterwards proposed as a response to the explosion. The move was, however, heavily rejected by the LPG Marketers Association, who raised concerns that it could put them out of business. But there are reports of government's plans to lift the ban. The Bureau of Public Safety doesn't think the move will mean a return to business as usual. It says it rather anticipates the green light for the siting of LPG cylinder recirculation distribution points to be given. Chief of Party of the Bureau of Public Safety, Nana Yawakwada, stated that the ban was imposed to help reduce the occurrence of explosions and believed it would be upheld.
What we are saying is that the ban may be lifted, but not necessarily for the construction of filling stations, because we know that plants are very advanced into the cylinder recirculation model implementation, and so the number of filling stations or filling points are going to reduce significantly, and the number of distribution points where users or consumers will have to go purchase their gas or cylinders is going to increase. And so originally a station that came under the ban may not be allowed to continue to build a filling station, but may be allowed to develop it into a distribution center. You understand? That's what we are expecting if what we have heard on the cylinder recirculation model is anything to go by. Most of these stations that were banned are not likely to be allowed to proceed to become filling stations, because you must understand that the whole ban was, put in place to cure a certain problem.
One of the places that I'm really looking forward to visiting the next time I'm in Kumasi is the Swami Magazine area. That place is literally the local automobile hub in the country. Growing up, I heard stories of how they were able to convert saloon cars into limousines. Those guys are geniuses. However, though, with how far technology in the automobile industry has come, how are they going to keep up?
For decades, Swami Magazine has created employment opportunities for thousands of people. The artisans who operate at the industrial hub specialize in metal cutting, grinding, drilling, welding, painting, electrical and vehicular repairs, vehicular spare parts sales, and small-scale manufacturing. The activities at the enclave have, however, been on a downward spiral. This is primarily due to the artisans' inability to properly fix modern vehicles that are being made, which they have little or no expertise on. The artisans can now heave a sigh of relief as a Center for Capacity Development in Automobile and Manufacturing has been set up at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, to equip them with the needed skills and competencies that will make them more efficient, as well as introduce them to appropriate modern technologies and innovations. Professor Mark Aduma Samoa, the provost of the College of Engineering at KNUST, spoke on behalf of the KNUST Vice Chancellor, Professor Rita Kosia Dixon, at the launch of the initiative.
The work of artisans in this country are widely viewed as without standards, little or no innovation, and with no means of measurement. And as a result, the university has over the years collaborated with leadership of Swami Magazine to help resolve these challenges. Honorable Minister, management of the university therefore saw the collaboration between Cooperative Arbeit West at Aurelia Holding AG and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology as an opportunity to promote collaboration and investment to equip artisans who work on engines with appropriate modern technologies and innovations to be more efficient.
The initiative is as a result of a collaboration between the Member of Parliament of Swami, Osei Mensah Bonsu, and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, with support from their German partners. Ms. Osei Mensah Bonsu says the work of the traditional artisans at the Swami Magazine cannot be overemphasized, and as a result, the center will help them get appropriate expertise and will open up more opportunities for them.
The traditional mechanics play a vital role in the informal economy that cannot be overlooked. Many vehicle owners who are unable to afford the services of the dealers resort to them for servicing, maintenance, and repairs. I dare say that the unacceptably high levels of bestiality and carnage on our roads are mainly attributable to servicing, maintenance, and repair works deficiencies. Since last year, 2 major auto manufacturers have established assembly plants in Ghana. These are Volkswagen and Lisa. Toyota and Sinotrack are at various stages of establishing their plants. These modern automatic gear and electric vehicles would require servicing, maintenance, and repairs. The competence of the artisans in that regard shall have to be ramped up.
So far, some artisans have already received training at a center. For Anthony Opon, who has worked at Swami Magazine for years and is also the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, the initiative is properly preparing them for the future.
I've been traveling outside and I'm in the business, and I've seen that most of the new cars that have been developed are of the electronic type and the fuel cell type, which our mechanics don't have any idea as to the repairs and the maintenance of them. So with this laudable initiative. I think it's going to enhance the capacity of our mechanics and also give feature to the work that I'm doing.
Very impressive initiative there, but I am wondering, how did the area get the name Swami Magazine? If you know the details, drop a comment on our Facebook page. Let's now talk about food security. It has been a major concern in the country because of the huge post-harvest losses and the attendant high cost of food on the market. But do you know that our 11 city friends at the checkpoints are actually contributing to the national issue? I was surprised, shocked, and amused at their role in all of this. You would understand after watching this video.
According to available data, the agricultural sector employs more than half of Ghana's workforce both in the formal and informal sectors. Per data from the 2021 budget statement, agriculture is expected to contribute over 86 billion Ghana cedis to the country's gross domestic product, GDP. Sadly, stakeholders in the food distribution chain continue to suffer from post-harvest losses, high cost of farm inputs, among others. This, according to stakeholders, is partly due to delays at the various security checkpoints in the country. They lament that drivers transporting foodstuffs spend at least 3 days traveling from places like Burkina Faso and Paga to arrive at market centers in areas like Kumasi and Accra due to unnecessary delays by the security personnel on the highways.
You know, you have so many checking points on the corridor to Paga border. These delays, supposing you are supposed to sell your tomato at a cost of 1,000 Ghana cedis, for example, when you are delayed and the strength of the tomato goes down, automatically you won't get that 1,000 Ghana cedis, so you rather get about half of it. So it normally costs us much.
Police for no. Omo no mama aduane bo eyedin. Ena ya nyat sai mo ho ankasa. Anka police for ni target. Any road urban roads so say highways for and also another targets. Every say ukofa niama no na kwan ni wa na kwan ni nya. Driver no be ko no. Driver no be ko no. Obe make sure say obe charge you more. That's what I say. But kwan ni ya esana omre anaso ba ma we asua na we asua almost can now the bed o di beto so I feel be track mu so ba police force say any will share with profit in the man say e ma market women no omo jilo na omo ntumi ntua e say wakofa niama no onim say obedo market day 50 Ghana 20 Ghana na police nya delay ni sana na man na e I say.
Speaking at a sensitization workshop dubbed Awareness Creation and Strategic Building Seminar with the Ghana Security Agencies, the Northern Regional Police Commander COP Yosabonga said the police administration will continue to educate its personnel to be professional on the road.
We will continue talking to them. I think we are all working with human institutions. Human beings, it's not everybody who will listen to you today and pick your message. Some will pick it immediately. Others will think over it, spend 2 hours before they pick. 1 or 2 may try not to pick it. But it means that you need to persistently talk to them for them to see the need. And that is what we're going to do. We've been doing it. We'll do it the more.
Head of Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Inyaba, said the association will work closely with the police service to come out with reforms to address the hindrance in transporting foodstuff and other farm inputs.
We are going to work with them to come out with a reform policy brief that will clearly state out what the police are supposed to do on the highways when vehicles are moving. It will also spell out what drivers are expected to carry along, or the kind of vehicles and the kind of things that they are supposed to move with to reduce the delays on the highways. And we are hopeful that when that is done, cars that use 3-4 days to carry goods from the farm gates to the urban areas like Accra and Kumasi can use 1 day, because that's what the drivers are telling us. And when that also happens, It will help to reduce the high post-harvest losses that we have in perishable commodities like tomatoes, green pepper, watermelon, and what have you.
The workshop, which was organized by the peasant farmers of Ghana in collaboration with the Ghana Police Service and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, also cautioned drivers not to take advantage of the expected reforms to carry illicit goods into the country.
Our next story will worry you more. If you are in the northern part of the country, just in case your local egg sellers sell to you at an increased price, please be patient with them because the poultry farmers in the region have increased their prices. They blame it on a hike in the cost of poultry feed and they say they can no longer absorb it. As for these increments, it looks like the capital Accra might be next soon, or
flanked by poultry farmers from different parts of the northern region, George Dasa, national chairman of the association, made a declaration to egg consumers. He claimed current indicators suggest that if nothing is done to save the situation, the sector risks collapsing.
The poultry industry is at a crossroads. If nothing pragmatic is done immediately, we are going to have a collapsed poultry industry in Ghana. Now, the cost of producing a layer bed from day old to point of lay has more than doubled. This is as a result of the astronomical increase in feed costs, which constitutes about 65% of the total cost of production. Within a space of about 12 months, the cost of the main ingredient of the feed component, that is maize, has risen from 130 Ghana cedis per 100 kg to between 320 to 350 or even more per 100 kg, depending on where you are getting it.
The variables, according to the chairman, include a sharp increase in the cost of poultry feed. Currently, it takes about 23 Ghana cedis to produce a crate of eggs, according to Mr. Dasa.
Looking at these prices, cost of production, we want to appeal or call on our major stakeholders, that is the egg sellers and the consumers, to come to terms with our call to increase egg prices as follows. And what I'm going to mention, we are talking about farm gate price, because the egg seller buying from us will also have to add some margin of profit for him or her to be able to sell. And so we want to appeal to the consumers, final consumer, that if the egg seller comes to the farm gate to buy at these prices, definitely he has to also add something. So we want to appeal to our egg sellers that please, for us to continue to be in business, we want the large size to be sold or to be bought from us at 24 cedis. I'm sure, as I mentioned, they are memory in their minds. We want the medium size to be 22 cedis, the small size 20 cedis, the pullets, that is those that have just started laying, 18 cedis, and unsorted, that is if you have not sorted them, at 22 cedis. With the above prices, we can all continue to be in business so that we can provide our fellow Ghanaians with the quality of protein that they need.
But egg dealers like Grace Sapong isn't in support of the move. She says increasing the price will collapse her business.
If they increase the prices, even at now, as I'm speaking now, the prices that they increased previously, people are not buying. And when they increase it for us, we also have to put something on it so that we also get something to take care of our children. So for them increasing and we also putting some on it will make the prices of the eggs go high. And then when it goes high, the consumers don't buy it. When you just mention the price, they will go away, they will not buy. Because somebody may decide not to eat egg today. There's other means. You can go and buy fowl or wings and eat and forgo the egg. So it's not compulsory for a consumer to come and buy egg. So if they keep on increasing it, that means our market is going to grow.
If you don't want to lose your SIM number and also want to be able to continue using your mobile phone, then please get them registered once the exercise commences next month. The government says it has become necessary to check the activities of persons who engage in fraud. So please, go and dust off your Ghana card and join the queue once it starts. If not, by March ending next year, your callers will be hearing, sorry, this number is currently not available.
In a bid to rid the country's cyberspace of fraud, monitor and track down persons who use their phones for criminal activities, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, recently disclosed that plans are underway to ensure that all Ghanaians with SIM cards re-register them using the National Identification Card, also known as the Ghana Card. In an interaction with journalists in Accra on Sunday, Communications Minister Esla Owusu-Ekufo said any SIM card which is not registered by the deadline, which is on the 31st March 2022, will be blocked.
In 2019, on this very forum, we indicated that we would commence SIM registration in March 2020. However, due to the pandemic, we were unable to do so. I'm happy to announce that the Ministry and all stakeholders in the sector will launch the National SIM Card Registration Exercise across the country next month in October. The Subscriber Identity Module Registration Regulations 2011, LI 2006, mandates network operators or service providers to activate a subscriber identity module, SIM, only after the subscriber registers the SIM as directed by the NCA. Barring any unforeseen eventualities, SIM registration will begin on 1st October 2021 for a 6-month period and end on 31st March 2022. Any SIM which is not registered at the end of this exercise will be blocked.
Mrs. Owusu-Ekufo further added that the much-announced mobile device registration will be done alongside the SIM card re-registration exercise to save time. It is reported that even though 5 million devices are shipped into the country yearly, only 60% are duly accounted for. This implies that a sizable amount of the devices enter the country through illegal means. The sector minister explained that this move was well calculated and is aimed at curbing the influx of substandard devices in the country, among other things.
A central equipment identity registry records all devices in the country and reduces the influx of smuggled and counterfeit mobile devices. Each operator has an equipment identity registry, which is a database that contains all the international mobile equipment identity codes, IMEI numbers, of the handsets of all the subscribers on a particular cellular network. This will ensure that mobile devices entering the country are properly authenticated. It will also be connected to the databases of all mobile network operators in Ghana to synchronize and update the data of blacklisted and whitelisted devices in Ghana, to ensure that only approved mobile devices recognized by the CEIR would function in the country.
Loans are so expensive in Ghana. The issue is so dire that the President, Akufo-Addo, asked the Bank of Ghana to address the problem swiftly because of its negative effect on economic growth. The Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, has been sharing some ideas that can help better the situation.
The cost of credit in Ghana has been persistently high. It has even been placed high in the World Competitive Index reports. Also, surveys by the Ghana Association of Industries show that it is among obstacles to doing business in Ghana, making it a major impediment to investment and economic growth. The Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, believes the high lending rate is a result of competitive government borrowing, structural inefficiencies in the banking industry that lead to high high operational costs and high lending risks and associated loan defaults. They say there is the need to restrain government's borrowing by entrenching fiscal discipline as well as an improvement in efficiency in the financial sector through improved management practices. Speaking during a policy forum organized by the IEA, the Director of Research, Dr. John Kwachi, said one key measure that should be considered is a regulation of the lending policy rate spread to compel banks to follow the policy rates more closely. He, however, stressed that such a move should be temporary and changed to suit the circumstances of the economy.
I'm asking the Monetary Authority to impose a ceiling of 5 percentage points on that spread between lending rates and the policy rate. Okay? So, at the next Monetary Policy Committee meeting, if they decide that they are maintaining the lending rate at the policy rate at 13.5%, I want them to ask all banks to bring their lending rates 5 percentage points within that.
In reaction to this proposal, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Bankers, John Ewa, said such a move would not augment well for the country's economic development. He suggested a continuous approach of policies should be used to lead to the gradual reduction of lending rates as has been seen over the past 5 years.
The talk has been banks' lending rates are high, and we think they've been a bit misplaced because we're not taking the totality of all the factors that generate that lending rate. When rates or market rates have come down, the lending rates have followed. And if you trend the last 5 years, you see clearly that the bank lending rates have reduced from upwards of 28 to 29%. Now we are talking about 20%. So a lot of banks are lending to good customers at below 20%. So it is a matter that I think we have not sold our story properly. And I think the general rhetoric has been lending rates are at some levels that are unmanageable. But we think that if market fundamentals continue moving in the direction that is moving downward, lending rates automatically will follow.
You know, Ghana is doing very well with attracting foreign investment. For the first half of this year alone, we've raised over $600 million. So President Akufo-Addo has tasked the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to do all it can to come up with strategies to maximize Ghana's investment potential. After all, that will mean more money and more jobs in the country.
With the impact of COVID-19, which saw a decline in foreign direct investments globally, Ghana's situation was the opposite, with the country recording an FDI amount of $829.29 million for the first half of 2021. This was an increase of 32.15% over the FDI value of $627.52 million recorded in the first half of 2020. A breakdown of the inflows data from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center also showed that the country recorded $874 million in investments in the first half of 2021 from 122 projects. As part of efforts to restore economic growth and improve the overall investment climate among investors and investment facilitators, President Akufo-Addo has charged the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to use the maiden edition of the annual Investment Summit, SPACAP, to deliberate and develop strategies to maximize Ghana's investment potential. According to him, it has become crucial to augment government's efforts in building synergies between foreign investors and the Ghanaian business community. The president spoke at the maiden edition of the SPACAP Summit organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center in collaboration with the Ministry of Information.
Let me thus take this opportunity to congratulate the for effectively discharging its mandate and promoting vigorously the considerable investments and business opportunities that exist in Ghana, estimated at some 12 billion United States dollars in foreign direct investments from 2017 to 2020. Whilst global FDI declined by some 42% in 2020, in the midst of COVID-19, FDI inflow recorded by Ghana through the JNPC amounted to some 2.65 billion United States dollars, which bucked the global trend, representing a significant increase over the 2019 FDI value. In keeping up with the importance of public-private dialogues as recommended by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, I'm charging GIPC to use the summit as a platform for open, frank, and solution-orientated engagements between investors, regulators, and investment facilitators. I'm hopeful that it will afford the facilitator agencies, regulators, and the relevant public officials on one side opportunity to engage directly with investors and potential investors on the other.
Chief Executive Officer of GIPC, Yofi Grant, noted that overall, Ghana's upbeat half-year FDI performance has varied marginally from the globally anticipated slowdown in FDI flow. He noted that his outfit will not relent in its efforts to create innovative ways to take advantage of the numerous investment opportunities.
Increasing FDI in the medium and the long term requires some swift, articulate actions with the policymakers to review, revise, and revamp FDI strategies to make them more fit for purpose, modernized, and operationalized policy measures to support value chain-linked FDI and boost FDI in the digital economy. Indeed, the President has time and time again said that our economy must be driven by private sector. And as a co-chair of the group of eminent persons for the achievement of the SDGs, we embraced the SDGs, and Ghana was the first country in the world to actually benchmark its budget to the SDGs.
Spark Up is an annual investment summit which aims to reignite the passion for investment in the country and create a platform for investors and investment facilitators to discuss investment challenges and find solutions.
Now to the construction industry. It's quite worrying how a lot of construction companies fold up once another party comes into power. It clearly shows the dynamics of the terrain locally, but this is not the best for the sector. How can we build businesses in the space for the long term under such circumstances? Deputy Minister for Works and Housing says construction companies would have to find a sustainable approach to stay in business.
Construction businesses in Ghana have a notorious record of folding up at the end of the term of the political government during whose tenure they were formed. This is largely due to their dependence on highly politicized government contracts. The Deputy Minister for Works and Housing and MP for Binduri, Honorable Abdullahi Abanga, said poor corporate governance is to blame for the phenomenon.
Many of our local contractors last only as long as one government is in office. This is an indication of the poor corporate governance practices. And one of the major tasks ahead of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry is to assist the government to inculcate the spirit of excellent corporate governance among the Ghanaian industry players to enable them to leave government and stay in operations for generations. We therefore wish to appeal to the leadership of the Chamber to chart the path for effective partnership in order to support this and future government for a well-structured business environment in the construction industry, to enable it play its role in bridging the infrastructure gap in the country.
The president of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, Patrick Ebobonfu, said a deliberate government policy is required to grow the construction industry.
The situation has come about because of unfortunate partisanship of our economy. Contractors who happen to get jobs in a particular government tend to lose their contract when a new government comes. Or as he said at the meeting, even sometimes due to change of ministers. We think that we have to go beyond that as a people. It's sometimes I would say that those foreign contractors were deliberately, encouraged or grown by their governments.
Mr. Ebobonfu also urged the members of the association to look within the country for building materials in order to curb the dependence on expensive foreign materials.
I have been a strong advocate for use of local materials as an alternative to reduce cost. In an area where you don't have control, over the producers of cement. And to be frank with you, they import clinker, they import a number of things which are influenced by the dollar. So when it comes to price increments and stuff like that, it's very difficult for them. Again, when you talk about taxes, the government, it's very difficult for government to get taxes. We Ghanaians don't like paying taxes, like everyone else. So items that have elastic demand like that are easy ways that the government can generate, money to develop the economy. So if we want to reduce that, then we have to be looking at, alternative, construction materials, like local materials. I have said elsewhere, let's examine the use of laterite, in hydraulic compressed bricks, which are interlocking, which will reduce the use of cement, for construction. These are the things that can help us, solve that problem, because we don't have control over the cement producers.
Now, state-owned enterprises in the country will soon have their individual performances on display for the public to see. This is to ensure that they improve upon their operations. I think this is a great move because of the perception that government agencies don't pay much attention to efficiency. A system has been put in place to rate their output. So if you are last, Pernod, we will all see.
Despite the huge investments in state-owned enterprises in the country, they have not lived up to expectation, as many of them have not been able to pay dividends to the states. For instance, as at the end of 2019, an aggregate net loss of 586.4 million Ghana cedis was recorded, and this compares to a loss position of 188 million Ghana cedis in 2018. Indeed, between 2015 and 2019, SOEs have consistently posted negative operating margins, averaging around 10%. Addressing the issue, Joseph Kujo said, all will be done to ensure the efficiency of the enterprises.
Rank state-owned enterprises, JVCs and other state entities, rank their performance. And we see number 1, number 2, and most importantly, Mawari, including ranking CEOs, and that is the enterprise ranking, and then a board ranking and CEO ranking. And so what is coming is that we're going to generate public interest in state-owned enterprises, because we believe that, and the president, his vision is that the state-owned enterprises must be performing, and 1D, 1F, which is private sector driven, must also be performing. And when these two production assets in the economy of Ghana are doing well and growing, there will be a lot of jobs created. That is the vision the president carries.
Meanwhile, the Private Enterprises Federation, PEF, is optimistic the move will greatly enhance the fortunes of the private sector, as government agencies remain the biggest procurer of goods and services needed for the growth of the economy, of which the private sector is heavily involved in.
So far as the government is recognizing that there must be improvement in the performance of state institutions, this effort is in the right direction, because they want to improve state enterprises activities, and that is a boost to private sector, because you see, private sector dependence on state institutions is enormous. The government is the biggest procurer of goods and services, so government state institutions play a key role in how private sector benefits from state activity. And the Private Enterprise Federation and its partners have been working with a lot of state institutions to improve their service charter, improve how they go about delivering their services to the private sector, improve how they fight corruption and others. So this, by the state, is in the right direction, recognizing that efficiency is a way to go to improve the economy in general.
Well, it's a wrap from here. Thank you for tuning in to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on City TV. And don't forget that our website, citybusinessnews.com, has regular business news updates for you. And Business Dashboard airs 10 p.m. sharp on City TV every weekday with a repeat 7 a.m. the following day. The show is sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye-bye.